to the Isn't That Rich podcast. I'm your host, Ashley McVicker.
And I'm Jill Franks.
And this is part 3 of our credit card series. And today we're going to be talking about all of those points that you have piled up, what you can use them for.
Which is so exciting. So in our past 2 episodes, we mentioned there are 3 different kinds of rewards credit cards. Last episode, we talked about how to really rack up the points on those cards. And today, it's all about how to redeem them for travel. So specifically travel today. So for all of those who want to book those free flights to Europe or wherever you want to go, this episode's for you.
Yeah, and Jill, you know I just got my Chase Sapphire Preferred.
Ashley finally took
Finally
the bait
did it.
and
Took
got
two
the card.
Took 2 podcast episodes to get me to do it, but I'm so glad I did it, and I got my friend Maddie to do it too. So we're so pumped.
Oh my goodness. So you got the Chase Preferred like I have.
I got the Chase Preferred, and so right now they're running a, would you call it a special? I don't know. Whatever their promotion is, and it's if you spend $5,000 in the first 3 months of ownership of the card, you get 100,000 points.
Which is so exciting. Have you spent money on it?
I
have you gotten it in the mail?
So I spent it. No. So I want to talk about this because we talked about this on the last episode, how when you get these credit cards, the moment you apply is when that time period starts to spend the money to make sure you get the promotion.
Right.
And sometimes, with our mail, it could take 2 weeks for a credit card to get here. Well, with the beautiful new technology we have called Apple Pay and put it in your wallet, buddy, I put that thing in my wallet and I went to the grocery store that night.
How did that go for you, Ashley?
It was great. I needed a little bit of help because I never used Tap to Pay, but I was like, I have to start racking up some money on this thing. And it actually sent me a fraud alert, I think, because it was like the first time I used it, it was like very quickly and it was like shut down the whole Kroger system. They like locked the doors. I was like, yes,
Help
Chase,
me.
it's me. But I'm excited and I love to see all of the rewards on there and all the points. I'm like, okay, screw my other cashback card. This is like the way to go.
This is the way to do it.
Yeah. If I could
congratulations, Ashley.
If I could give a plug to people, go get yourself a really good rewards credit card.
And you figured out the shopping portal. I think we kind of talked about that. And so you're starting to see how you can get multiple points per dollar purchase.
Yes. And it's awesome. I'm already seeing like you get 100. Okay. So the fee, and I don't want to talk too much about this because I know our episode's about something else. Well, I guess not. We're talking about redeeming your points, but one of the rewards on there is a $120 DoorDash fee credit. Like you get free DoorDash for a year. $120 is more than the $95 fee. So if you're someone that uses DoorDash, which I do,
there you go.
You've got it.
It already outweighs the $95 fee.
Already have a $50 hotel credit. I mean,
that's amazing.
The rewards definitely outweigh the cost of it. And I don't think 95 is expensive for a year.
No, definitely not. So, well, congratulations, Ashley.
Credit card gang. Yep.
So we're going to talk about the 3 different ways to redeem your points for travel. So there are 3 easy ways. The first one is through your credit card portal, which you do that shopping. We talked about that last episode. Ashley's getting familiar with her credit card portal. You can actually book travel in the portal. The second way is to leverage technology to find the best airline awards and then book your travel. And the third way is to book through the travel partners directly. So you can go directly to these travel partners, book directly, and redeem your rewards for travel.
Yeah. And they're all great options.
Definitely.
But if you really want to take some time to maximize your rewards and your points, we're going to be going through that today.
Yeah. So let's jump into the first one. Redeeming through your credit card travel portal. So I've used this and we always talk about the best reward is one that gets used. So using your points, that is the most important thing here. And booking through your travel portal, if you're just getting started with redeeming points for travel, that is the best way to do it. I can give you this example and how I felt that it was really great reward. So Tom and I got married in Seaside, Florida. We had a lot of spending before and we racked up this ginormous bundle of rewards from our spending. One thing that we could use these rewards for was airfare for our family to fly from Minnesota and Illinois to Seaside, Florida. And flights to smaller destinations really rack up. And so I felt really proud of the way that I could go on, purchase tickets for my family, and they could fly to see me get married, a destination wedding. You always worry about your family getting there. So I could buy my dad, my stepmom, my brother and sister flights through these rewards. We redeemed them in the portal.
And that is such a nice gift.
Yeah.
And so you did that through your portal. It was so easy.
It was so easy. I went into the American Express portal, logged into my app, and you can go book travel. There's a little tab at the bottom that says travel, redeem for travel. And that's what I did. Now, when you're in the portal, you can either redeem for points or you can actually pay cash with your credit card or, pay for your travel with your credit card. It's as easy as booking directly with an airline. You just click into the travel portal. So simple. This was really good for this cause because our dates were not flexible. We knew the dates that we had to be there, and there weren't a lot of airline options to fly into Panama City or Destin, Florida. There were really only 2 airports within driving distance. And so I didn't have a lot of flexibility for tickets. There were a couple airlines, and that's what made it easiest, was booking through the travel portal.
It's just right there.
Right there. I could search for flights from where my family was flying into, just like as if I went to Delta or Southwest, right within Amex portal.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say this is I don't think anything that we're talking about today is a downside, but this is just a fact about shopping through the portal, or buying travel through the portal, should I say.
Correct.
But your points and those dollar amounts are fixed.
Right.
And so I'm going to walk through each credit card and talk about the dollar amount that goes with the points. So for an Amex Platinum, it's 1 cent per point when booking in the portal. But with a 35% rebate, it's effectively 1.54 cents.
And this is specific to Amex, because I wanted to talk about this for a minute, because we talked about the 5 different...
Because sometimes if you book through something, they'll give you some money off.
Yeah, so it's like stacking your points. So if you get that 1% or 1 cent per point or dollar when booking in the portal, but you get a rebate because you use Amex.
Yeah, through their own portal,
so
right?
So then it becomes worth more. Yeah.
So it kind of bumps up its own price.
Exactly. Booking in your credit card portal is very beginner friendly, but oftentimes you don't get the most bang for your buck. So the price is fixed.
Yeah. So that means whenever you're in there shopping and it says 1 cent for 1 point, that's a fixed price. So whatever your points kind of add up to on a % basis, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And what we're going to talk about later in this episode is how you can kind of make those points go a little bit further and make them count for a little bit more value.
Right.
But I don't say that to say that they're not valuable within your portal, because they are.
Right. But they just might not go as far.
Yeah.
As transferring out to different partners.
Right.
So when you're booking inside the credit card portal, each of the different currencies are valued at a different price. So they might be a little less than they're worth transferring out to their airline partners, but they're still valuable if you're going to redeem them. So points redeemed are still great points. Let's go through the different currencies. So the first one we talk about is the one that I have, the Amex Platinum. So these, when you book inside the portal, are 1 cent per point when you book. If you use your Amex card for the rest, say your flight is $500 or 500 points and you still have a little bit in addition to pay and you use your Amex card, there's a 35% rebate so that your points go a little further. It's 1.54 cents. Those are worth.
So instead of 1, it's 1.54.
Exactly. Now, the Chase family of cards are valued differently depending on the card which you have. So the Sapphire Reserve, which is kind of a higher end Chase card, is valued inside your credit card portal as 1.5 cents per point.
But it probably also has a higher fee.
Exactly.
Which is okay though.
Yes, definitely. The Chase Sapphire Preferred, the one Ashley and I just both signed up for, they're valued at 1.25 cents per point. So if you get 1 point and you redeem travel, it's worth more, 1.25 cents. The Capital One family of currency, it's 1 cent per point. So that one's an easy, fixed 1-to-1 ratio. And the Citi thank yous are worth 1 cent as well if you book inside the credit card portal. Here's the important thing. Use the credit card points if you have them, whether that's booked inside the portal or outside the credit card portal. Points used are
the best.
Are the best. Yeah.
Well, and I would say, and I keep saying like we're going to talk about this, but I feel like if you've never like booked travel through this before, like me, if I tried to do anything else, I feel like I'd significantly maybe screw it up.
Well, and you get overwhelmed. Like it can be really overwhelming to
when
look
you're trying
outside.
to be creative and like make these points count. But,
Yes.
So I think starting here is definitely, it's not a bad option at all. That's not what we're saying. They are what they are. They're fixed.
Yes, they're fixed, and it's going to fuel you to want to learn more about it. So once you get that first trip booked off of points, you're going to be like, okay, now what else can I do? How else can I make these points go further? So it's going to kind of fuel that fire for you to learn and go a little deeper into this process.
And I haven't done the math, and I can't really do it off my head. I think I put it in ChatGPT earlier, but I was like, what is 100,000 points for me on this? And I think it was like close to $1,200 in travel. Like,
right.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that's way more than the $95 fee.
Exactly.
And we do know that I can use those points for other things. I don't necessarily have to use them for travel.
Yeah. You can also get a credit on your balance.
Right.
So the portal is perfect when you want an easy win, especially for domestic flights, hotel stays, and rental cars. So if you're flying locally, like my family was coming down to do it through the portal. It might be your best bet.
And Jill, when you're shopping through the portal using your credit card, you get points, more points, right?
Exactly.
So it's not like you're just depleting all your points. I mean, you are in a sense, but you're also gaining if you have to pay for some things.
Yes, exactly, Ashley.
And then we know we're going to be traveling, so put everything on that credit card and just rack those points back up.
Exactly.
Love it.
So besides booking in the credit card portal, the next step would be to leverage technology to find the best airline awards. So there are some free ways you can do this and some paid ways to do this. We're going to talk about those. But these tools, these technology is there for you to use because it can be so overwhelming. There are so many airline partners. And if you were to go to each airline partner, search them and try to see what your points would be worth, it is so overwhelming.
Yeah. So we have 3 tools that are very beginner friendly, I would say, to take the guesswork out of shopping and using these points. And so if you're looking for something free and quick, the Points Path Google Chrome plugin is a game changer.
Okay.
So it automatically searches your flight route when you're browsing airline sites or Google Flights, which I used Google Flights the other day and I was like, this is really cool. Like I'm so old school when it comes to traveling. I told you everyone always like buys my flight. So I'm like, wow, this is incredible. But it shows you which loyalty programs can be used for that route.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes. And roughly how many miles it might take. And then I think you have to know your miles, right, for your points or whatever.
Yeah.
Miles, whatever. And then it's just a low effort way. So you're not overpaying.
That's awesome.
For your travel.
Well, I always wonder that too. So like you do a Google search on this Points Path plugin. It's going to tell you exactly how many points that flight is worth.
It's going to take.
And now it'll also tell you what partners. So if I know Amex has these 11 partners or 14 partners, I know that I can transfer to them.
Right. And you know which ones you can't.
Right.
Too.
So I automatically
just
cut
mark
out.
that flight off the list. Like I can't do that one.
Easy.
You could do it. You just can't use your points.
And I love that it's free. Free plugin. That's not often you find like these little cheat codes for free. So.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like the next one that we're going to talk about is a little bit more expensive, but you really love it. But so if for me as a beginner, I would probably do this Points Path and just try to figure out, okay,
what flight?
This is my best option.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So second way to do it would be Points Path. Great. Love it. Our favorite tool, or mine rather, because I've been playing on this and figuring it out.
She showed it me the other day. I was like, whoa.
It's exciting. It's called Point.me, and it's a subscription-based site that searches across dozens of frequent flyer programs to help you find award flights using your points. So we love that it walks you through exactly how to transfer your points and book the flight once you find it. It's especially helpful if you're still learning which program partners with what airline. So that is the confusing part. And we're going to list all those partners in a little bit. But when you're starting out, you don't know who partners with who. You just know that I have an Amex card, I have a Chase card, I have a Capital One card. You log into points.me, you type all of those points that you have, who you have them with, and then you search for your flight.
And they know who, I think that's the better part, right? They know where your points can be transferred to.
Right. So the only flights they show you are the ones that you can purchase an award flight for.
Right.
Which is great.
So on my free version thing, you got to do a little bit more work.
Right. Exactly. The third one, I've never used this one, but I just want to mention it for those. I want to talk about the cost first. I should have said that. So point.me charges me $129 a year. And this next tool also charges around $130 a year to use it. So the next tool is awardtool.com, and this lets you search award availability across multiple programs all at once. It's a little more bare bones, so it's not as complex, so you're not going to get as much value as you would if you use points.me. So between the two, I would recommend point.me. But this is also, it's free and effective to start out, but if you want like a higher level of search quality, you have to pay that $131 a year.
Yeah. But you would say, Jill, that you think it's worth it?
I think it's worth it in gold. I mean, Ashley and I were just doing a practice run at this, and on points.me, I typed in, a pretend trip. So Tom and I are trying to go to Italy, or we did a fake trip to London. I think you and I did. So we're flying from New York to London. We typed in my Amex, Capital One, and Chase points if I get that $100,000 or 100,000 points credit. And I think it was like a $9,000 trip if I were to book this trip for us. But inside I could redeem, I think it was like 95,000 points per each of us and pay $500. So for $1,000 and, 190,000 points, both of us can lie flat in our seats to London. And
Instead of paying like what?
Almost $10,000 if I were to book.
I mean, that's crazy.
Directly. Yeah. So you can really have these luxury flights for I wouldn't say it's next to nothing. It's still expensive, but relative to the 9,000, it's nothing.
I feel like the best way to kind of compare these first two ways to use your points is like, the first one is very beginner friendly and domestic, like you're saying. If you're flying within the United States or wherever you live, this is probably just shopping through your portals the best bet. But if you're going to do maybe some international traveling,
yes,
and those flights are obviously more expensive. Everyone says it's always like the most expensive part of an international trip is the flight.
Definitely.
I think the points.me would probably be worth it, even just probably for one trip.
Yes.
The $129.
Right. If I were to book this directly, I would have spent $9,000. While I would get a lot of credit card points because I have a travel card, it's still at the end of the day $9,000 on my balance that I have to pay at the end of the month.
Or I'm thinking if you were just trying to do it on your own without the points.me, you may lose $200 on a flight. Like you could use all your points, but you may be picking a flight that's $200 more, in the $129 using points.me could save you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. No. So I'm going to walk you through point.me, and we're not sponsored by point.me.
I know. I was about to say that. I'm like, we're not sponsored.
So it will go through and search literally 30 airline loyalty programs to show you how to use your points to book flights through your partners. You tell it what points you have, where you want to go, and it shows you your options. You don't have to have spreadsheets. You're not like searching a million different searches. It's going to take you seconds to find the best air trip for you. How to use it is simple. You get the paid version. You pay the $129 a year. You link your reward account. So you're going to type in, like I said, the 3 cards that I have and the points that I have. I also tell it the destination, dates, cabin preference. So I wanted those lie down seats. It only found awards that had the lie down seat. So it will tell you specifically which airlines have those.
That's nice.
Right. So I don't want to search. For this example, I didn't want to search anything without it.
So you can basically put so many filters on this.
Yes. And then it shows you the best programs to transfer your points for that trip. So once you transfer the points, they're in that travel partner. Like they're gone out of your credit card. You can't transfer them back and redeem them for something else. So say you wanted to do that balance credit, you can no longer do that. They're in that travel partner. You have to use it. Say you transfer to Virgin Atlantic, you have to book a flight through Virgin Atlantic. There's no going back. So this will show you exactly how many to transfer to that partner as well without going over.
Because you don't want to basically like overpay. Yeah.
Right. You don't want to pay too much.
Overpoint.
Exactly. Once the points are out, they're gone. So it'll provide you next step-by-step instructions on how you will transfer those points to that travel partner. This is where I always get really nervous. Like I don't want to transfer too many. I don't want to transfer the wrong thing and the flight be gone. Mm-hmm. But this will show you how to do it step by step. Then after you know which partner to transfer, you're going to go on to, let's just use the example of Virgin Atlantic. So you're going to go to virginatlantic.com. You're going to search the flight yourself because points.me is not going to book the trip for you. You still have to go and book the trip on your own and make sure it's available.
Make sure.
So you go to Virgin Atlantic, you type in your flight, and you see that there's a seat available in the lie down seats. And that's when you transfer this flight or the points.
Okay.
And you complete the booking then and there.
So you have to go to Virgin Atlantic then to book it.
Yes, to that
and
travel partner.
And the points will be in there.
And the points will be in there.
Now I want to talk about this too. Mm-hmm. The points can take... They're not instant sometimes.
Right.
And we'll go through that because we're going to share all of the partners and everything with the airlines. But
yeah,
you got to be ready to act.
Yes.
We know this.
Yep. Second option, using that technology to really see what flights you should take and what trips to use your rewards is the easiest way to go. In my opinion, this is still where I am.
Okay.
In my credit card reward redemption process, this is where what I do.
You're on points.me.
I'm on points.me.
And so you think it's worth it?
I think it's worth it. Any beginner or even novice out there, I would say would probably be worth it to search through these tools. I'm just saying with AI and everything, the tools they utilize to find these flights is going to be so much easier than Jill Franks going manually, Virgin Atlantic. What's the next one? Yeah. What flight can I get? It's just, I'm not going to be fast. I don't like to keep spreadsheets and look at all that information.
Remind me one more time, just so I'm clear. Mm-hmm. I have the points in my Chase portal.
Yes.
I get on points.me. I don't transfer them through points.me. I transfer from the Chase portal to the Virgin Atlantic.
Correct.
Program.
Exactly. Okay. And we're going to get into this, but to answer your question, you're going to sign up for all of these different loyalty partners. So for instance, we're going to talk about this, but Amex has 14 different partners that you can transfer your points to. You're going to want to sign up for loyalty with all of those partners. So when you're searching for point.me and you see this flight or this redemption or hotel, whatever, this great trip that you can take, it's going to make it so much easier if you're already signed up for the loyalty program. You have your numbers, you can connect it to your Chase portal.
Okay.
And then it'll transfer out immediately.
Okay. So it's actually not that hard.
It's not hard.
You just want to have you want to be signed up for everything is what you're saying.
So we're going to give you a list of all of those partners today. So if you have whatever, the Chase preferred card, you can go sign up for the 11 different partners, have their loyalty program, have the little number that you need to input, and then you'll be able to transfer once you see that flight available. So I kind of explained that poorly. So I want to really break it down even further onto how to transfer these points out. So the first thing you're going to do is set up loyalty accounts in advance. Use your legal name when you sign up for this. So whatever you have a credit card, whatever name you use for your credit card, it needs to match exactly
Okay.
to the loyalty account that you set up.
So if my nickname is Ash, I can't do Ash McVicker on there. I need to do Ashley McVicker.
Yes. And this is something. So credit cards don't often verify. So for my husband, his full name is Thomas Franks. Sometimes, and on some of his older credit cards, he goes by Tom. He put Tom Franks on his credit card. Mm-hmm. Well, when he goes to an airport, his credit card and his ID are not going to match. And with that credit card. Mm-hmm. So it's very important that you make sure your credit card is your legal name and the loyalty programs for that credit card have your legal name. Okay. Otherwise, they're not going to speak to each other and you're not going to be able to transfer your points. The transfer could get delayed or worse, you could get rejected entirely and you won't ever be able to transfer those points. So ensuring that your legal name is on your credit card and your loyalty programs is essential.
That is such a good tip.
So set those loyalty accounts up in advance before you book your trip.
So I will not be using Ash McVick as my name.
Schlee will not work.
Schlee will not work. Okay, so the next thing you have to do is link those accounts to the credit card portal. I feel like this is probably one of the most important parts. So once you have your loyalty account created, log into your credit card rewards portal. So for me, I would go into my Chase app, my Chase portal. Mm-hmm. If you have Amex, go in Amex City, go in City, and link your loyalty number to that program. So if you were in Virgin Atlantic, let's say you get this number, now you need to link that number into your credit card portal, correct?
Yes, that's exactly right, Ashley.
Doing this now saves you precious time later when you're ready to transfer, especially if a great deal pops up and availability is limited, which I feel like that's the scariest part about transferring those points is like, oh gosh, I hope they have a seat for me when I'm ready to transfer.
Right. And people could be noticing that there's a mistake or there's been mistakes out there. Like an airline will throw out a flight and forget to add in a 0. And all of a sudden these travel influencers find out about it and they're like, book this trip now. And then it's gone in 2 seconds. So you happen to try to transfer your points out and somebody gets that trip. Well, now your points are stuck in limbo. So make sure that you have this all set up ahead of time. So you're not like, oh shoot, I never set up my Virgin Atlantic loyalty program. Now I have to sign up and then connect it to my Chase portal. And then, those experts are going to beat you to the punch and get those.
They are. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the most important part. I would say link that number, that rewards number with your account.
Yes, definitely. The next thing you're going to do is search for availability on the airline or hotel website. So like I mentioned before, you need to make sure that flight is actually still available. Mm-hmm. Don't assume just because you can use points for any flight or hotel that it's going to be there when it's time to book. Mm-hmm. Make sure you use the exact date, destination, and class of service you want. And if you can't find award availability there, it doesn't matter how many points you have, you won't be able to book. So make sure the flight is available or the hotel night is available.
Mm-hmm. This next part I think is crucial.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely keep this in the back of your head, but comparing your point costs versus portal booking. So while sometimes your points may look larger through a rewards program outside of the portal, check inside your credit card portal. Something may cost you 45,000 points when booking outside of the portal may cost you 60,000 points, even though they're, do you get what I'm saying?
Yes. So like you're saying that
you may think you're getting like a better deal because you're going outside of the portal,
right? But
sometimes within your portal, something, because it's in the credit card portal, it might cost less because they can do that.
Yes, absolutely. So check your credit card portal as well as doing this point.me search. And
yes,
definitely.
Yes.
That
so
makes
always
so
compare
sense.
those points. And I think that's another great reason why you should probably have something like points.me so you can see those points.
Yeah,
going
you can
outside
see
of those.
easily how many points it will be to redeem that travel without.
How many times do you think we've said points in this episode?
And redeem.
I'm like,
and loyalty. I love it. Okay. So the next thing you're going to do once you find the trip is calculate your transfer and watch for bonuses. We mentioned this on a previous episode that sometimes travel loyalty programs offer bonuses. So if you do the transfer, calculate exactly how many points you need. Some programs require transfers in 1,000-point increments. Also look out for the travel bonuses. Like I said, sometimes they offer a 20% bonus or 30% bonus just by transferring out to them. So you don't need to transfer so many points. So say if you only need 40,000 miles and there's a 25% bonus, you may only need to transfer 32,000 points instead of that 40,000.
Okay.
Don't transfer too many.
Yeah. And you don't want to do that because like we said, if you're transferring too many, well, then they're stuck in that portal.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You've got to fly that flight again, guys.
Yes.
You're just not getting those points back.
Yes. And if you have to transfer in 1,000-point increment, you could have 900 points sitting there or like 6 points sitting in that portal that you never utilize.
Yeah.
But yeah, just don't transfer too many.
These are also good tips. I'm so glad I get to talk through this episode. So I just learned all about it while I got this new credit card. It's great.
Fun.
Okay. So the next thing is transfer and book immediately. So transfers are usually final,
right?
Like we've talked about. And once the points are sent to your travel partner, you can't pull them back. That's why you need to transfer when you're ready to book. As soon as the points hit your account, many are instant, but some can take up to 48 hours, which is like so scary if you're booking a flight. So I feel like that's the risk you kind of take on when doing it this way. Hopefully there's just enough flights.
Yes. So have you ever been with your family? You're booking a flight for like 4 of you or like your friends. And they're like, I don't know if I'm going to go for sure. I don't know if that flight works for me or that time doesn't work for me. And you're the one booking. You're like, come on. Right?
No, because I'm never the one the booking.
Okay. Now in the future, when you're going to want to be the one to book these flights and get the points, Ashley, you're going to be like, okay, make a decision, please, friend. Mm-hmm. Are we going on this trip or not? Because if you're trying to get this flight and nobody else can make that decision, and then the option is gone, you're SOL, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not going to get that flight that you had all agreed to.
Mm-hmm.
So tell your friends, be ready to act because this is a one-time offer and it's going to go fast.
Yeah.
So
this reminds me, I'm watching The Good Place right now. And it's so funny. The TV shows I watch, I always line up with something in my life that I'm like experiencing. And so I'm watching The Good Place and Kristen Bell's like talking to her friend, like when she's back on Earth. And the girl's like, there's 12 of us going to this concert tonight. Like, do you want to go? And she's like, no, you just want to book it because you want all the credit card points. And she's like, I'll book it on my own credit card because I can get my own points. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like,
I want to get my
big
own
deal.
points.
It's like, I've learned something that's like,
people care about it.
Yeah. I was like, wow, I'm in this new world where I've learned something else that people care about.
Who's your friend that books? Is it Erin?
It's Erin.
Erin's your friend. Now
so she's
Erin's
like,
gonna be like
smarter than all of us.
Ashley.
She's like been on this before all of us, but I'm on you, Erin.
But a little planning before you book and doing it this way is going to go a long way. So if you follow these steps we just talked about, you're going to get those great trips and the most out of your rewards.
Yes. I love that our podcast turned into blogs because you can just, when you're ready to go book your trip, guys, come back to our blog and just read through these steps really quick.
Yes. And before you sign up for anything,
check the blog.
So you know who your travel partners are too.
Yeah, we'll have them all listed here, and that's what we're about to read off. So everyone bear with us. But
and this was the most confusing part for me because I didn't even know other airlines outside the United States were a big deal. You know what I mean? Like I fly United, Delta, American, Southwest. You know, those are the main.
Brag.
Those are just the domestic airlines that everybody knows about. I didn't know there was a
Turkish airline.
Qatar Air, you know.
Jared probably just flew on that Turkish airline.
He probably did, but there are airline partners that we're going to talk about that are great options, and oftentimes when you're flying abroad, these are even better and more luxury than the airlines we're so familiar with. So don't write them off if they have like a crazy name like Emirates, right?
Yeah.
Highest class luxury airline out there, one of them.
Right.
But if you saw that when you're looking to book a flight, I would have been like, I've never flown that. I'm not sure if I want to take that flight. Don't throw those out the window when booking flights. Make sure that you actually,
because I feel like all these credit card rewards programs are like partnering with really great premier flying places, whatever you want to call them.
I agree.
Okay, I say we just jump into it.
Okay, so we're going to give you all of So we talked about the different currencies. We're going to tell you who is their partners for flying. And it's going to be a list, and we're going to have this in our show notes. So if this gets too long for you, visit our show notes. But let's start with the Chase Ultimate Rewards. Who partners with them, Ashley?
So they are valued at 2.05 cents per point, which is great. So that's not even a 1-to-1. That's like a over 2-to-1. I think that's fantastic. They offer the most flexible transfer options, and their airline partners include, I will go slow and I will try to pronounce all of these right: United, Southwest, JetBlue, Air France, Emirates, British Airways, Singapore Airlines, Virgin Atlantic, Aer Lingus, Iberia, and Air Canada. So all of these transfers typically are instant, except for Singapore Airlines, which takes about 48 hours. I don't know why they take 48 hours, but they do. And their hotel partners include Hyatt, Marriott, Bonvoy, and IHG One Rewards, all which support instant transfers.
Well, that's so good. So lots of transfer partners. You mentioned something really interesting, right? You said that the Chase Ultimate Rewards, when you're booking outside your credit card portal, is worth or valued at 2.05 cents per point.
Right.
So remember, we talked about what it was inside the portal was like 1.5 or 1.25. Mm-hmm. So now you can see how it's valued more outside the portal with the travel reward loyalty programs we just mentioned.
Yeah, that's great.
So
cool.
Instead
Instead of that like 1-to-1, like I said, it could be when you book out, it could be a 2-to-1.
So great. So Amex membership rewards valued outside of the credit card portal are 2 cents per point. So they also offer a wide range of transfer partners. Their airline partners include Delta, ANA, Air Canada, Virgin Atlantic, Emirates, Avianca Life Miles, British Airways, Singapore Airlines, Qantas, Cathay Pacific, Etihad, Hawaiian, and JetBlue. Most of these transfers are instant, although ANA can take up to 48 hours and Singapore Airlines may take up to 48 hours, just like yours.
Yeah.
Hotel partners include Marriott Bonvoy, Hilton Honors, and Choice Hotels. All of those transfers are typically instant when you transfer to hotels.
I think it's like really important to, not that you shouldn't like fly to Singapore through this portal because it takes 48 hours, because I'm sure you could get a seat, but I would take note of the instant transfers. If you were like, this is a hot flight, I want to go here, instant transfer, book.
Right.
That's why we keep saying like be ready to be in those things and ready to go. So
have your loyalty registered with these programs.
Mm-hmm. So next is the Bilt rewards. So if you have a Bilt credit card and you have this rewards program, these are their partners. So it's valued at 2.05 cents per point, which is another larger one when you transfer out. Has rapidly gained popularity for renters and savvy travelers alike. And their airline partners include American Airlines, United, Flying Blue, British Airways, and Virgin Atlantic, all of which are usually instant.
Yeah.
And then their hotel partners are Hyatt, IHG, and Marriott, which are also instant transfers.
Yeah, and it will actually tell you on the loyalty program what the transfer time is too.
Oh, good.
So if you're ready to transfer, it will give you like a heads up, so just make sure you're aware of that. The next one is the Capital One Miles. So they're valued at 1.85 cent per point outside the portal. They're 1-to-1 inside, they're 1.8 outside. So that's pretty great. Their airline partners include Air Canada, Air France, Turkish Airlines, Avianca, Emirates, British Airways, Singapore Airlines, and Qantas. Most transfers are instant, although we've already talked about Singapore Airlines. They may take up to 48 hours.
Figure it out, Singapore.
I know, right? On the hotel side, transfers to Choice Hotels and Wyndham are instant, while some of their other hotel transfer partners are not instant. So there's one other one. It's called Accor. That one might not be instant. So you want to check for delays on transferring to that hotel chain.
The last rewards program is the City Thank You Rewards, and those points are valued at 1.8 cents outside. Okay, so when you're transferring, yes. Okay. Final reading of the airlines that they partner with is Turkish Airlines, Avianca, Etihad, Qatar, Emirates, Flying Blue, Singapore Airlines, and Cathay Pacific. Again, most of these are instant, but Turkish may take up to 24 hours, and you know about Singapore Airlines.
48 hours, baby.
Yes.
Okay.
And the city hotel partners are Choice Hotels, Wyndham, and IHG. All instant.
Love it. The hotels seem to take less time.
Yeah.
So
Seems just less complex, probably.
Yeah, definitely. The best redemptions, once again, are often international business class flights or luxury hotels. So you're going to get the most value when you're booking these. So if you are going somewhere far, now's the time to redeem these points.
Yeah.
I've seen people book $6,000 flights, or the one I found an example of from JFK to London would have been $9,000 for Tom and myself, but only 1,000 plus redeeming points.
Yeah.
And I'd also want to mention this too. The reason the one that I looked up was 500 points is because, or $500 in addition to using my points, is because there are taxes and fees. So make sure when you're looking at these flights, look at the total at the bottom.
Yeah.
And look for how much it'll actually cost you in dollar amount after you redeem your points. Because the taxes and fees...
Can't get out of them.
You can't get out of them. You can't redeem points for taxes and fees,
but hey, I'd rather pay a little bit of taxes and fees than $9,000 for a trip.
That's right. So there's a really cool tool out there. I mentioned this book by the Points Guy that came out in the last month. It's a really good tool. They also on their website have updated point values every month. So every month they go through all of these currencies that we keep talking about, the 5 different currencies, and they give them a valuation. So we mentioned that outside the portal, it's at 2 cents per point. It might vary. Always check with the Point Guy, and we'll list those links here in our show notes. But we're really thankful that they have those.
So they can change their points at any time. These rewards.
Remember we said we can devalue their
right.
So
yeah, and I think that's what we want to leave our listeners with today is that there's no right way to spend your points.
Right.
Like points earned are points earned, and spend them the best way that you know how. We're just here to give you some of the better ways to spend them and get some more bang for your buck.
Absolutely. I mean, just a final piece of advice. If you're a beginner, start with your credit card portal. If you're getting a little bit excited about it, you move on to a little more advanced. Use technology to your advantage. Use these point.me or other tools out there to find the actual flights that you want to take. And then
finally, just book through those.
Book those luxury redemptions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't let your points just sit there.
Yeah. Well, I've learned so much, Jill. I've loved this little sequence. So if you haven't listened to our other episodes before this, you really should, because it will give you the entire rundown about the best credit cards, the best points, all the things. And so now we know how to travel well with these points. So I love it. It's a great time.
Yeah. We hope you find a free trip and use your rewards to redeem them. And we'll see you next week.
So Jill, where do we go from here?
Be sure to check out our show notes for this episode, and also be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our newsletter. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.